Well, with me in studio now is Mr. James Nelson. He's the CEO of Solar3D Incorporated. SLTD is their stock symbol. Jim, good to see you again.
Good to be here.
Well, Jim, lots to go over. I want to start right at the top. Concern for the new Congress coming in is the deployment of green energy initiatives. How do you feel about the past policies related to that?
Well, I've been disappointed, frankly. I disagree with what they do with the subsidies for green energy. You know, we have a great government system, but our elected representatives sometimes get confused by the conflict between getting reelected and actually doing something to accomplish something for America. For example, everybody loves green energy, of course, for obvious reasons, and as a result, Congress puts together a subsidy package to encourage its widespread deployment. However, the subsidies haven't worked. For example, despite everything the government has done, only 1% of our power is supplied by solar energy, despite the fact that 50% of the government renewable energy financing is accounted for by solar.
Amazing. What do you think the role and or objective of government should be?
Well, the first thing they have to understand is that widespread deployment of anything, especially green energy, is a function of economics, not policy. So I think everybody would like to use solar if it were as inexpensive and reliable as some of the lower cost methods now. However, governments tried to force feed economically broken technology on the system, and so as a result they've had a problem. They should abandon subsidies for existing technology that is not economically viable and find a way to motivate innovation of new technology that can actually reach grid parity.
But you're actually asking government to have some common sense.
Yeah,
it's kind of an oxymoron.
Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
How do you feel all this impacts your company, Solar3D?
You know, I've been asked that question. The fact is that when I give my opinion on government policy, I really do it on what I think is fair and logical. But I think it positively impacts our company like it does everybody else. We're developing this new three-dimensional solar cell, which we think will dramatically change the economics of solar energy. So if there are no subsidies for economically broken technologies, then the hope for global deployment of green energy will rest on companies that are actually developing technologies that will work economically. That's our objective.
You know, your solar 3D application technology is just really something amazing to view, and you know, people who want to get a better look at it can go to your website, and that's solar3d.com, correct?
They can, yes.
Okay. How's your progress relative to your goals and plans?
Well, whenever you start a new technology, you're wildly enthusiastic and sometimes optimistic about what your possibilities are. The fact is, despite the fact that we've been enthusiastic and optimistic, we're ahead of schedule. We're ahead of schedule in terms of timing and ahead of our plan in terms of what we think the Solar 3D cell will do. We think that it's well on its way to doing exactly what we anticipated that it will do. Time will tell, but we're on track and we have reason to be optimistic.
I mentioned your website a moment ago, and one of the things I read there I thought was a fascinating piece of information where I think the sun provides enough energy in 1 hour to power an entire major city for a full year.
Yeah, well, to power the entire world for a whole year.
So the entire world.
Yeah.
1 hour, the entire world for a full year.
Correct.
Just amazing, and it's all being wasted. What should investors and people who are interested in looking at your company expect from Solar3D in 2011 now that we're here?
In the fourth quarter, we'll have a working prototype. And so as soon as we have a working prototype, we'll be able to go to the next level of development, which will be to start working with a fabrication partner. And once that happens, and once the prototype does exactly what we think and anticipate that it will do, then we'll be able to move rapidly to global deployment.
It has to be an exciting time for you right now.
We are excited, and there's a lot of optimism.
Once again, the company is Solar3D Incorporated. Their stock symbol is SLTD. For more information, visit their website at solar3d.com or give us a call toll-free, 888-259-4449. Jim, good to see you again. Looking forward to more updates from you as we continue along.
Thanks
here.
a lot, Don.
Thanks.
We'll keep you posted.
Great.